This video is sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. Stick around till the end for an exclusive deal. Hey guys, so I'm going to be making another 14 guide. This one is for how to play Pictomancer. I noticed a lot of people are struggling on what to do, so I'm trying to clear things up. So I'm going to be playing on 2.48 spell speed because my ping is kind of mid and the second pop window is tight. So if you have good ping, play 2.5, but also it might mean this rotation might not work for you. But I haven't tested it since it doesn't affect me. I'm going to be doing the optimal rotation for 10 minutes, which should be more than enough time for like any level 100 fight where you have 100% uptime. So the rotation would obviously change if there's like an intermission, since it would mess with rotation planning, but for like EX1, M2S, M3S, it'd work. Maybe M1S, because if you get launched second, it's near the end of the fight, so it wouldn't mess with planning for like the rest of the fight before that. It should also work with EX2 if you plan your Swiftcast motifs and have some luck, but you can also just kill the boss fast and you'll skip some downtime phases. So I start my opener on the second GCD, because at 4 and 8 minutes the raid buff will come out around half a second late, and so it'll align with other raid buffs. It also minimizes holy uses. So the first big thing to go over is what I like to call the checklist. So between each burst, you need to do specific attacks, so you can line up your KYMK burst. And what KYMK is when you burst with a comet, a yellow, magenta, and another comet. Because if you use cyan during burst, it's less potency than using the yellow and magenta. So if you just wing it, you'll lose out on, at worst, 80 potency per burst. So it's kind of good to maintain your KYMK as long as possible, but if something messes up, then it's not the end of the world. So for this whole video, I'm going to have a checklist in the corner, so you can see what we need to do for each burst, and I'll update it as we do each requirement. So it might seem like that the rotation is very rigid, but as long as you do each thing in the checklist, in any order, everything should line up the same way every time. So a big thing I notice people doing is when they're bursting, they blow their load too early. So since we burst at the second GCD and Astro cards come out around halfway through our burst, we want to save our big damage for around halfway through our burst to catch as many raid buffs as possible. When we finish our 4-minute burst, we need to be really careful not to paint our Starry Sky motif for the next 2 minutes, because we're going to need to paint it right before our 6 minutes starts. And you might be wondering why we don't use Medine in our 6-minute burst, since it does more damage than Mughal laser. Well, the reason for that is that we wouldn't be able to fit all 3 creature motifs into our pot if we try to do that. And using the laser is still a damage gain over any other burst, as long as you can swift the motif at the end. Which is why you need some good ping. I never tested this, but you might be able to Medine in your 12-minute pot, but I'm pretty sure that's never going to happen unless Eden Ultimate is just a guy trading dummy for like 13 minutes straight. We're going to be potting early here, and we need to fit Cyan in the pot so that yellow and magenta can be in the raid buff. So just make sure your last cast is blue before you hit your pot, that way Cyan is the next thing that comes up. But if you follow the checklist correctly, everything should line up. So between 6 and 8 minutes, we want to use our one and only holy of the fight. I spent way too long trying to find a way to avoid using the holy here, but I had no luck. So if you find a way to not use holy there, then you can call me a slur in the comments or something. If you're in a parse party, then M2S and M3S are both affected by this, because they both take longer than 8 minutes, and have 100% uptime. But the fights I mentioned earlier, like M1, EX1, kinda EX2, those are fine. They'll end really quick. Like 99% of the time, you don't ever want to be using holy. And the only other time it's useful, outside of aligning your KYMK, is if you're at the end of the fight with 0 meter and no motifs, and the boss would die before you can get one more full subtractive combo off, which is like the 50 meter 1, 2, 3. In which case, you would holy the boss until like 0.5%, and then you would swift cast a Rainbow Drift. So that about covers it. I kind of made this guy to under the assumption you kind of know the basics of Picto already. So I didn't go over like what you should have in burst. You could probably find that stuff online very easily, like on the balance or something. But and I also didn't want to make this guide longer than it already is, because it's already like 10 minutes of me just fighting a training dive. So I hope this is helpful. And now a word from today's sponsor.